Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
In this video, we will be replacing the coolant fans in a 2009 Chevy Suburban. If you need these parts or other parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. We're going to remove this cover. Just grab underneath, pull up, and then you're going to pull out. You're going to have to wiggle it a little bit, and it'll come right out. That's where it's secured down, and there's clips that hold that in. Next, we're going to remove this snorkel. We have a worm clamp right here. We're going to use an 8mm socket and extension. Loosen that up. And then over here, it's a worm clamp right here. Do the same. And we're going to take a trim tool, and over here, where the hose is secured, we're going to separate that. We're going to remove this hose that goes to the upper valve cover. Pull that out. And we're going to lift up right here and pull towards the front of the vehicle. And then pull this off the airbox. Pull that out of your way. We're going to pull the airbox out. We're going to disconnect the connector right here for the mass airflow sensor. Move that aside. And grab on the airbox, and you're just going to gently pull up like that, and the airbox will pull right out. Next, we're going to pull these transmission cooler lines off. We're going to pull this little cover back that covers up the lock for the transmission cooler lines. Then I'm going to take a right angle pick, and you're going to go in here and grab the little locker that holds the line on. We'll slide that out. I'll show you what it looks like. What you're doing is, when it's in there, trying to grab in here and just pull this out like that. And then you can grab it and pull it out. I'm going to grab the other cover for the other one, pull that out, and then pull the other clip off this one as well. Grab it and pull it out. They do actually make a special tool that you can slide over here and push it down. We do not have access to that tool, but some of you may have access to it, and it'll be a little bit easier. I'm going to take these 10mm bolts out with a 10mm socket. They hold the line on. These hold the transmission bracket on. So take these out. Sometimes these are caged bolts, yep. So they stay with the bracket. Now I'm going to pull these lines out. Make sure you have a drain bucket underneath, because some fluid's going to go into the bucket. Pull the upper line out. Pull it straight back. Next we're going to pull this line up out of the bracket right there. Set that aside. Then I'm going to use a trim tool and pry this clip up that holds the upper radiator hose. Move it out of the way. So next on these fans, I'm going to grab this connector and there's a little button to push. As you can see, the lock. So we'll pull that up. We'll grab the other one, do the same. Pull those off. I'll use a trim tool to disconnect the wires from the fan shroud. There's one more. Alright, that's all disconnected. So we're going to take these upper fan bolts out. It's a 13 millimeter. We'll use a 13 millimeter socket and a ratchet. Get those cracked free and then we'll do it by hand. Belt. Pull the bolt out. Do the same over here. At this point, we should be able to grab our fan shroud. The only thing holding it is down here is these clips. So pull that up and then pull it up on this side. Just maneuver it. Out. Oh, it's stuck right there. And there it is. These are our old fans. These are our new fans from 1aauto.com. As you can see, the fan configuration are the same. The connectors are exactly the same. The fan motors and the fan blades are both equal to the original. Flip it over, take a look at this side. This side's the same. As you can see, the fans are the same from this side. The mounting spots are the same. The clips that clip into the radiator are the same. Get yours at 1aauto.com and you'll be ready to rock and roll. Next, we're going to install our coolant fans. Pull this hose out of the way. Over here, there's a little slot right here. That's where you want to line the fan up, the housing. Same with the other side. This is going to line up right here. We can install our bolts. Install that bolt and that bolt over here. Now we can tighten these up with our 13 millimeter socket and ratchet. Right. Now we can install the wiring harness into the holes down below here. The little push retainers. Put those in. We can connect our fan connector. And then connect this one. Next we can slide this retainer through the top of the fan shroud. Next we can install this tranny cooler line, the lower one. We're gonna just put it in the fitting and push till we hear it click. Just like that. We can push down this little black cover over it. Once that's on, make sure it's seated all the way around. Looks good. Next I can install the 10mm bolt. Right here. We'll tighten this bolt up with a 10mm socket and ratchet. Right, next we're going to install our upper tranny cooler line. We get it lined up in the fitting and then push till it clicks. And we're going to push this cover over. This cover keeps the clip from popping out. Then we're going to install our 10mm bolt right here, and we'll tighten it down with a 10mm socket and ratchet. Now we're going to install our air box. Slide it in this way. And then we'll push it down and go into those rubber grommets. We can connect this electrical connector to the mass airflow sensor, like that. Next we'll install the intake snorkel. Slide it down. We're going to slide it over the throttle body right here. And watch this rubber grommet over here. We're going to pull up on it while we slide it back. So that's in, and that's in right here. Next we're going to come over here, pull this onto the air box, like that. Over here, a little retainer for the hose. Slide that in there, like that. And then on the back side, this hose that connects to the upper valve cover. Pop that in. Now I'll take my 8mm socket extension and a ratchet, tighten up this worm clamp right here. Not too tight, just a little bit snug. And then same on this one. Snug it up. It's good. We're gonna slide it underneath the hoses over here, the heater hoses, and then slide it back. And then once it's back all the way, there's little rubber grommets in here that line up with that ball and socket. And push down. Next we'll pull off our coolant cap on our overflow tank or coolant reservoir. So now we're going to add our coolant. You want to make sure you use a 50-50 mix of coolant to water. Check the bottle of the coolant to make sure it's not pre-mixed. We're using a DexCool coolant in this, or a GM vehicles approved coolant. As you can see, that's where the fill line is. When we start the vehicle, that is going to suck more coolant into the vehicle. We're going to start it with the cap off, and as the vehicle runs, the coolant's going to go down, and we're going to have to top off accordingly. Now we're going to start it. As you can see, it's sucked down all the coolant out of our bottle. So we're going to add more coolant. You want to keep in mind checking the temperature while we're letting the coolant burp. You don't want to just start it and walk away. We're going to wait till the temperature gets up to about 210 degrees. Another thing that's a good idea is to turn the heat on. We'll turn the heat on high, all the way up, and keep checking and make sure you get heat coming out. If there's no heat, then there's not enough coolant in the system and you need to add more coolant. We're going to check our coolant level, make sure it's still above that line, which is good. And then carefully, you're going to grab this radiator hose, and this hose still feels cold. That means the thermostat still has not opened yet, so we're going to keep letting it run until it opens. As you can see, our vehicle's up to just about 210 degrees, which is good. Our heat is working well, and the thermostat has opened. At this point, we're just gonna shut the vehicle off and let it cool down. All right, so now our engine has cooled down, and we're gonna check our coolant level. It's a little bit high. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop it down just above where the full line is, and then I'm going to put the radiator cap on, and then we're going to go for a test drive. And after we get back from about a 10-minute test drive, we will adjust accordingly, let it cool down again before we take this off, and then you'll be good to go.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.